Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Slime Light Novel Readings. I almost said Anime Church. Holy cow! Oh, I gotta close that. I gotta close that. I didn't realize they could see that. Moon, if later you want to check that, more information just happened, like within the last hour regarding this whole Doki Niji En shit. So.
Okay.
Niji Sanji done effed up again, boy. We got more crap we gotta talk about in Anime Church. Oh, buddy. So, yeah, that happened. Hi, everybody. How y'all doing?
Guys, how's it going?
Hello.
It's Prime Slime time. That's true. It is Prime Slime time.
This is true.
Yeah,
That
no
having been
more
said-
of this Nijikata stuff. No more about Funimation and Crunchyroll merging together. It's all about slime.
There's no more Funimation.
Oh, yeah.
Sony's
What
seen
is
to that.
Funimation. I've
that's
never
what's-
heard of that.
Well, for about 20 years, they were the name in anime. And now they're not.
Whoa.
Yeah, they were responsible for bringing you such things as Dragon Ball Z and Attack on Titan.
Mm-hmm. You know,
Mushoku Tensei, and a bunch of other insanely good things. Like, it's no joke to say that if it wasn't for Funimation, anime would not exist as it is in this form in the West. Funimation's a very big deal. And the fact that they're just gone. Also, as somebody who's never worked with Funimation, but has had to work with all the other stuff, all the other people in the game, and how hard it is to like work with other people, I'm gonna miss Funimation because, man, they were really, really eager to work with their fans because they understood that, hey, promotion is promotion. You want to promote it?
Yeah.
And they understood that, like, yeah, when they picked up Fairy Tail, there was kind of a buzz about it. But, like, as soon as they picked up Fairy Tail, we made a podcast. We jumped onto it. We immediately contacted Funimation. And we were like, hey, guys, just wanted to let you know, we set up this podcast to talk about Fairy Tail. We want to talk about, hype up this show and everything. All they done is announce, like, the two people in the cast. And then, like, a month later, they released the first episode. And they didn't know us from anybody. We just started. We had like maybe 10 episodes out. And they were like, hey, we got a thing that we're doing at New York Comic Con. Y'all want to jump in and like do interviews and stuff for that? And I'm like, is this a trick question? Yeah.
Is this a fake email? Are you?
No,
is someone
it
trolling me
wasn't
here?
a fake email. I knew the guy the guy. I knew who I was talking to. It was the Funimation guy, same Funimation guy, and he was like,
You looked at him like,
yeah,
don't
we
do
got
that.
a lot
Don't
of the
give me
voice
hope.
cast. We got a lot of the voice cast coming over. We got a lot of the main voice cast coming over, and you can interview them. You can meet Hiro Mashima, and I'm like, I can meet the creator of Fairy Tail. Say less. Say less. So I'm just saying, just from, I don't know how things are now because I've been out of the game for about 7 years. But back in the day, they were some of the best people to work with if you were in the industry and you were trying to, run a podcast or any kind of promotional stuff within the anime community that had any kind of connection to Funimation. They were about working with you to promote their stuff. And anytime we were doing a panel at a convention that was related to Fairy Tail, I would contact them and they would be like, hey, you still living here? I'm like, yeah, this is my address. And they would send me like at least 2, maybe 3 boxes of swag to just give away. Like a crap
I'm assuming that's
ton of
where you
Fairy
got
Tail
the
stuff.
happy plush on the shelf there.
No, I bought that.
Oh.
Yeah. Dude, the number one thing that I straight up did not do, I didn't keep much for myself. Like, there was maybe like 1 or 2 things that I was like, all right, I'm taking that. And that's because there were like so many copies of it that it was like, yeah, nobody's going to cry.
One's not
if I
gonna
take-
be noticed, right?
Well, it's not that. It's like, dude, I felt really, really bad taking anything from those. So
Yeah.
basically, I would wait until everybody had gotten everything, and then the stuff I had left after the convention was what I would keep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
I didn't
That's fair.
get first dibs on anything. That's why the DVDs and everything that came in there, those were gone. I didn't keep any manga. I didn't keep any Blu-rays. I didn't keep any DVDs. Those went out. Those were given away. And I made sure
nice.
that they knew it too, because I was like, hey, I want y'all to know this, because next time I say, hey, I'm going to convention, I want you to send me more stuff to give away at the convention. Because I did not want them to think that I was going to betray their trust. Also, another point in their favor, once again, Funimation brings you slime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I'm aware that it's also on Crunchyroll at the same time. So if you want it subbed on Crunchyroll, if you want it dubbed, Funimation. And not everything at Funimation was done in the same way that Dragon Maid was done. Okay. Not everything got the same treatment. I understand that sometimes not all dubs are the same. That's all I'm going to say.
No.
Yeah.
That having been said.
I will say, Fairy Tail, I think, was actually, to my knowledge, like the first actual anime that I watched. Like that got me into anime.
Yeah. That having been said, well, I mean, it's also really, really cool because I watched a couple of these people. Like I was familiar with some of these voice actors and some of the bit stuff that they'd done. And this was, to my knowledge, Jeremy and Todd's like first big lead roles. They'd done they'd done like some supporting stuff and everything like that. And then to have talked with them on multiple occasions and be on a, like, it got to the point where it wasn't like, oh, it's Todd. I wasn't talking to Todd Habercorn. I was talking to Todd. We were just, we were joking. Like,
oh, it's just Todd. Basically.
It was, well, not just that, but we made jokes. We made jokes on each other when we weren't even at cons together, because people would come up and ask me to sign Fairy Tail related stuff, which I thought was really weird, because I'm like, dude, I'm not in the show. I'm just an idiot podcaster that does the voice of Natsu when we read the manga. I'm no one important. It was, hey guys, I'm Natsu
you're the
voice.
Manga Natsu voice.
This is my voice for Natsu Drag Deal. It was nothing even remotely like. But,
oh my god, is that the real Natsu?
Yes.
Did you sign my thing I happen to have off screen?
Dude, no. I literally had somebody chase me.
My water bottle? Actually, no, it goes behind this one.
I had somebody chase me down at a convention and have me sign their Fairy Tail DVD. And I was like, are you sure you want me to do this?
But...
This is...
Yeah.
Dude, it was crazy, dude. I'm like, are you sure you want me to do this? I'm not the real guy. I'm just some asshole podcaster. Are you sure? Because like, this is like an out-of-body experience. This should not happen. I'm not an anime voice actor. I'm just some schmo with a podcast. But you want me to sign? So and that's what started happening. I started signing stuff as Natsu, and so I'd start signing stuff as podcast Natsu, and then I'd sign really big and say, I'd say Richie Roberts, Natsu podcast Natsu was here. Hi, Todd. And then
then he takes that and has them sign the other side.
And then no, they'd give it to. Eventually, Todd would get it. Would get to Todd. He'd see it. He'd laugh. And then, like, on some of his next stuff, he'd start signing, Todd Havercorn in tiny letters. Nobody would get it. He'd say, hi, Richie. And then I'd get stuff like that. And so it just became a joke where we'd say hi to each other via autographs.
Yeah, it's like
via other people's
hi,
shit.
Can you sign this thing? That's like, what do you mean I already signed it? Oh,
we would say hi to. We would communicate with each other via other people's swag, which was so funny.
It's like how mail used to be. You have that carrier, but it's just such a bizarre backwards way of doing it. It's like,
it's
dude,
it's
you can
the
shoot
weirdest
me a text.
It's the weirdest
right?
game of phone tag ever, man. But
it reminds me of like, what was, I don't know what.
But
I can't remember.
But now, holy
shit!
Like it's Todd is the Drifter, and he's doing he's doing like a stream event with Bungie, coming in and chatting with them. So he's the Drifter in Destiny. I hear him a lot in that, and of course play Cyberpunk and you play as female V. You're hearing Jeremy, and I'm like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I talked with her briefly about that at a KaiCon last year because she was there, and I was like, how cool is that? I mean, I know y'all recorded separately and everything, but girl, you got to have scenes with Keanu Reeves. And she was like, I know. And she was like, oh my God, it was so crazy. It's so surreal. I got to have
tell
scenes
Keanu to fuck off.
kind of.
That is wild, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. No, they did not record at the same time.
Well,
and a lot of
yeah,
the time
but
she recorded before
surrogately.
Keanu. But like,
But it's still cool.
she had scenes with Keanu, and I'm like, there's not. How many of your peers get to say some cool shit like that?
No,
Yeah,
not many
that's
people
incredible.
can say that Keanu Reeves was their equivalent to their Navi.
All right, that's also true. All right,
Great.
Very.
guys, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen of the congregation, please open your holy books of Rebrewism to Volume 15, Chapter 3, The Battlefield Rages. All right, Moon
I
Moon,
don't
take
have
over.
like the timing you do.
Shim is on break this week.
Yeah.
Him is on.
We have
we
put
killed
you
him
through
last
the ringer,
week.
bud.
Yeah, that's
Thank
okay.
you.
If
It
only
was.
you
It
could
was
put like a
appreciate
thing
everything
above
about
him
you, buddy.
on the
Now,
screen to
now,
be like,
now, Shim
great.
gets to experience what it's like to be you guys. You know, or to be
Yeah,
us.
for real.
You know.
Kim, you have
Just kinda
express
back.
permission to interrupt us at any point.
Okay.
I know you will not abuse it. That's why I've said it's okay.
I do have an air horn somewhere.
Okay, so Sonic, now you have to be like Shim is with us. You have to stay quiet and shut the fuck up for most of the time, and he gets to be you and just interrupt ad nauseum.
At whim.
Oh boy.
Oh boy,
Shem,
Also,
you've been
very
given
nice
a
job of
really
the HUD
big
impression.
power.
I'm looking
Take
forward
advantage
to it.
of it,
Thank
but
you.
also use it responsibly.
Oh, okay.
But that being
Use
said,
it
go ahead with
responsibly.
it.
But Shim got
just
the
kinda-
Riz. Oh my god,
The Riz.
the Riz. All right, Moon Moon, you ready? Moon,
I am.
are you ready?
I am ready.
Sonic, are you ready?
The magical beast.
I'm ready.
Let's go.
The Magical Beast Division, led by Commander Gradam, numbering some 30,000 troops, took to the skies in their airships. The sight of Velgrin's valor had kept morale high, and with the enemy right below them, they had a perfect target to exercise their violent impulses on. Listen up, all of you. His Excellency and Lady Velgrin are personally on hand to catch sight of your exploits. You had best not disappoint them today. I want each and every one of you to be ready to fight. The officers and men serving Gradam responded to his shouted speech with a roar that shook the atmosphere. Gradam liked to see it. It was a perfect opportunity. He thought as he smiled to himself. Maybe the world is no longer mine for the taking, but there's no doubt that my moment in the sun is here. Caligulio is defeated, and that boy Yuki has failed. I will be the only general left, the greatest of field commanders, and if I perform well in this battle, that's exactly what I'll be. From Gradam's point of view, the Western nations weren't enough of an enemy to trounce. Hinata Sakaguchi looked like she'd put up more of a fight, but he still chided her as a half-wit, who couldn't manage anything more than a draw against a newly minted demon lord. Gradam had boundless confidence, and he had the hard-nosed fighting experience to back that up. All the dots. Gradam, the Beast King, was the second most powerful man in the Empire. He was born in the Beast Kingdom of Eurasania, which had remained a mere rumor for quite a while. And in fact, he was the half-brother of Carrion, the Beastmaster, who once led the nation. The beast inside Gradam was a proud, solitary white tiger, and perhaps not by coincidence, he had such a notoriously selfish streak that he was judged unfit for the throne of Eurasania long ago. Those damned pieces of garbage. They didn't even join me in the Empire, but now they team up with Carrion to plot rebellion against me? I will make sure that they regret this. Gradam had been building up this grudge for a long time, and as inherently unjustified as it was, the previous king of Eurasania was not a skilled warrior, but he had a good eye for people. When he decided whether to make his first or second born the crown prince, he made the choice based on who he believed was more qualified to lead others. That choice infuriated Gradam, to the point that he murdered his father, the king, over it. But in the ensuing fallout, he was subdued by Carrion and the three Beastketeers and banished from the kingdom for all time. This rebellion plot was just a self-serving assumption on Gradam's part. The truth was quite the opposite. Still, Gradam had survived to this day, a testament to his strength. He was a truly exceptional lycanthrope, and if only he had a more decent, approachable disposition, he could have been one of history's greats, with even Carrion marching to his drum. But that was all a what if by now. Instead, Gradam fled his homeland, wandering the continent, and that was when he met his most loyal of followers, the three generals. Nazim, the vermilion bird, was a mutant harpy Gradam met while traveling through the winged nation of Fulbrosia. She had 3 pairs of wings, gray with purple spots, and although she had lost the ability to reproduce, she gained outstanding fighting strength in return. Her striking, Frey-like good looks attracted Gradam's eye, and his invitation to join him was the beginning of their romantic relationship. Baraga, the azure dragon, was the master of an archdragon, a water dragon to be exact. That Gradam had defeated. He was a warrior getting on in years, but his abilities put him squarely in the middle of the Imperial Knights. Finally, Gozalin, the black tortoise, had control over Lorelei, an exceedingly rare rock sprite. A priestess from a foreign tribe, she enjoyed mastery over a variety of magical arts. She joined Gradam after he defeated her Lorelei. These 3 generals came from 3 different backgrounds, but they all had one thing in common: their strength. Nazim was Demon Lord level, for example, ready to potentially awaken at any moment, and the monsters that served Baraga and Gozalin were both Calamity level threats, putting the 2 of them at the head of the Magical Beast Division in fighting ability. It was around 300 years ago, after Veldora was sealed away, that Gradam settled down in the Empire. After surviving the Tema War, he was running a de facto bandit gang in Imperial territory when he was defeated by a military strike force. Only when he swore to follow Emperor Ludora did he receive a pardon. Gradam's mission was to defeat the Marshal so he could become number 1 across the Empire. Along the way, he wanted to take any opportunity he could to murder Ludora and take the throne for himself. In his mind, he had no particular favor to repay the Emperor or anyone else. He only carried out their will because they were stronger. In the meantime, he constantly searched for the right opportunity to turn traitor against them. With the help of the Empire, he would come to rule the world, and someday he would name himself Emperor and dominate all creatures. He could have such suicidal, reckless dreams only because he didn't know the Marshal's true identity. Ludora and his close confidants could see right through Gradam's intentions. But he was strong, and that made him useful to them. They only kept him alive as long as he kept following their orders, a dangerous balance they had established simply because they shared enough of a common objective. Now, that had been shattered. It can't be. I had no idea that the Marshal was Velgrin the Flame Dragon. I can't win against that kind of power. She is truly fearsome, well beyond even my strength. This was truly something on a different dimension, something he discovered before he could ever hatch this plot. And for the stroke of incredible luck, Gradam thanked the gods up above, even though he didn't believe in any of them. More dots. So, Gradam changed his mind on matters. He would need to defeat Velgrin someday, he thought, but it would require careful, step-by-step preparation. Knowing that, he decided to focus on building his military name instead, for the time being. Besides, if anything, this was expedient for him. Gradam's wild instincts were telling him that his awakening was near. Intuitively, he knew he was close to attaining power greater than anything before it. The same was true for Nazim, who always fought alongside him. The exact conditions for awakening were uncertain, but the time was undoubtedly near. That was another reason why Gradam was seeking out any battlefield he could find, and now, laid out before him, was a field of victims to prey upon. How could he not feel intense joy at the sight of it? He saw a legion of worthy enemies across the battlefield, some giving the impression of massive powers, and the more he defeated, the stronger his faction would become. Let the merry feast begin! And just as Gradam expected, or even more so, the battle was growing more intense by the minute. The 3 generals serving Gradam moved according to the purposes of their lord. Their eyes searched for the strong, and now they found it. Whoa, that's King Gazel. Beating him would most assuredly boost my fame. Trying to hoard the best pickings for yourself. You'd better leave something good for Sir Gradam, or you know what kind of mood he'll be in. King Gazel's bravery was known far and wide. Anyone who defeated him would most assuredly become a dominant figure. Baraga's warrior heart raged inside of him. But it was Nazim who felt obliged to stop him. Ah, shit. I had that backwards. Nazim knew that Gradam was on a personal hunt for King Gazel, so she advised Baraga to give it up. And besides, defeating Gazel would do wonders for Sir Gradam's power. There's no way we can let such a golden opportunity slip by us. That summed up her true intentions. And even for Baraga, serving his master Gradam came first. Besides, Gazel was already wounded to begin with, and as a warrior, he feared being accused of cowardice. Best to play it safe then, and defeat some handier enemy nearby. All right. Hopefully overwhelming King Gazel will help Sir Gradam grow in strength. Oh no, that's okay. Gozaline smiled at Baraga. Don't worry. You'll find many other stout foes here. Maybe not as many as you wished for, but you should find it satisfying nonetheless. And she was right. The battlefield was crawling with powerful figures. Baraga nodded at his companion. There was no need to panic, and Nazim agreed. Sir Gradam is correct. I'm sure the time of awakening is close by indeed. I, Nazim, the Vermilion Bird, am bound to be the first to become a true demon lord. Aren't you trying to hoard the best pickings now, Lady Nazim? Now, calm down. I'm sure we're all thinking the same thing. Sir Gradam can focus on King Gazel, and in the meantime, we can run as wild as we please. Nazim spoke for everyone present. I'll take the weakened lizard. The weakened lizard, then. The Dragonewts are still quite alive and threatening, and I think he's their leader. Striking him first is bound to crush their will to fight. In that case, I'll take that sassy-looking lady over there. Anyone who flies through the air without my permission deserves to be taken down a peg. Pretty sure I'm messing up these voices again. God fucking... Okay. And I will destroy that golem then. Time to give it some personal insight on just how powerful a Lorelei is. They declared their targets to one another, ensuring there'd be no overlap. And then the 3 generals set off for their prey. But it was the very definition of counting one's chickens before they hatched. Just as they predicted, Gradam was targeting Gazel. That was only natural for him. The strategical soundness of attacking the strongest first depended on the situation. But if that strongest had already been weakened beforehand, starting with them first was just common sense. Gazel was defeated by Kondo, and still motionless. Now was his best chance. I see you are King Gazel. I am Gradam, Commander Gradam, leader of the Empire's most powerful magical beast division, and I have come to take your head. This was beyond cowardice. It was nothing short of truly despicable, in fact. But for Gradam, it was purely justifiable. The way his creed meant, any means that achieved his goal were above board. So Gradam swooped down upon King Gazel, but there was someone in his way. It was Gabiru, the Draco Lord, a Dragonewt with reddish-purple scales that glowed with electricity, someone previously written off as down for the count. Gwahaha! I have returned, and your disrespect for King Gazel cannot go unaddressed! You'd better stay out of my way, you accursed lizard! Being interrupted so close to his prey greatly displeased Gradam, but in another moment, there were far more pressing things on his mind. Baraga, the Azure Dragon, the one who was supposed to be handling Gabiru, had been defeated in a single strike. And Gozaline, the Black Tortoise, so eager and excited to face the demon Colossus, was now in tears, her Lorelei smashed to pieces. Only Nazim, the Vermilion Bird, was somehow managing to hold her own against Sokka, the enemy she pointed out among the crowd. Even the soldiers ordered to defend Gradam found themselves helpless against this revived Gabiru. The difference in strength was blisteringly obvious, so Gradam, having no other choice, tried to step forward himself. But just then, he received an urgent magical call from Major General Zamdo. We're in trouble! Reporting on the local situation! The Demon Lord Rimuru has done something terrifying. We must keep his excellency safe at all costs, and so we're requesting reinforcements here at once. It really wasn't the time for this, Gradam thought, but he managed to swallow the words down. What happened? He drew this impossibly enormous summon gate. What are you talking about? I'm telling you that he summoned hundreds of demons, all greater demons or higher, and they've been given physical bodies too. Each one is above an A in fighting rank, but now they're acting as an organized fighting force. The frenzied concern in Zamdo's excited voice indicated just how unusual this situation was, but Gradam remained unconvinced. The Demon Lord Rimuru had done something, yes, but the Empire still had Velgrind on its side. There was no way a rabble of demons could defeat her, so he failed to see what the big deal was. The real threat was right here, the force opposing Gradam, and he really wanted to focus on that. We're in the middle of a battle here. You're gonna have to handle it with what's available at hand. Gradam practically spat out the words as he tried to end the call, but Zamdo's strained voice stopped him. But sir, we're dealing with a truly apocalyptic demon army. They're far stronger than regular Imperial soldiers. Nonsense! You've got both Lady Velgrin and the Imperial Guardians with you. They had only one airship deployed over there, the Imperial flagship, but it was manned by the very best forces of the Empire. Gradam couldn't see why they couldn't do anything without his team on hand. That was natural enough of a reaction, and nobody near Gradam could blame him for it. This time, they had simply picked the wrong enemy to mess with. Yes, we do have Lieutenant Kondo and the Imperial Knights with us, but the Demon Lord's main officers are here, and we've got our hands full dealing with them all. Their main officers? No way, thought Gradam. He had assumed that the Dragonute before him was Gabiru, a top official from Tempest. His strength was certainly a surprise, but looking back on it, there were a few other names mentioned in their advance briefing. Benimaru, Shion, Diablo, and Gopta, the Big Four, as the Demon Lord Rimuru reportedly called them. But Gabiru's name was not among them. That, Gradam concluded, meant all four were stronger than Gabiru. And that's not all. And that's not all! I know it's hard to believe, but the Demon Lord Rimuru has committed an abomination that no one could ever have imagined. I know not how he did it, but he has involved this entire army of demons. Do you understand me? Hundreds of demons powered up to the equivalent of archdemons. This really was starting to transcend all common sense. Gradam didn't want to believe it, but Major General Zamdo wasn't the kind of man to joke around. He was serious, meticulous, and Gradam had no choice but to believe him. They now had several hundred Calamity-class monsters released on the battlefield. I see. Yes, Zamdo, I certainly understand your concern. Thank you. So please, consider my request for reinforcements. With the last sigh of relief, Zamdo ended the call. Gradam pondered for a moment. Outnumbering your opponent meant nothing if you couldn't outclass them in quality. That was the law of war, and that was why Gradam took such great pains training his forces. If it were only demons, they might be able to manage well enough. But with 2 of his 3 generals down, it was dangerous to be optimistic. If it were Gradam's force alone, he'd just be marching them to their slaughter. Did I make a tactical mistake treating him as a mere demon lord? I may survive this along with the Empire's upper echelons, but we'd lose all of our rank-and-file soldiers to a man, no doubt. And if that's the case... It was too late for regrets. All that remained was to do what he could, and Gradam still had one more forbidden skill to tap. The members of the Magical Beast Division were true elites, all selected and trained by Gradam himself. They were hailed as a group of born leaders, descended from a bloodline of heroes that birthed legends since ancient times, but that had nothing to do with the truth. In fact, they were a set of artificial champions, created in a lab by a combination of magic and otherworld knowledge. Each one of them was the equivalent of an A or higher in rank, the best of the best. But they were also granted partners, creatures whose bipolymer data was rewritten to endow them with extra battle-specific abilities. This was man-made life, created by cultivating magical beasts in captivity and combining the various characteristics they exhibited into one. These pseudo-androids were known as battle chimeras, and it was the lycanthrope Gradam who led research into them. It was through careful examination and analysis of his own transformation mechanisms that the researchers found ways to enhance those who served under him. In this world, there were essentially no limits to research, no ethical or religious lines anyone felt it was too taboo to cross. to cross. Blech. That was why they had achieved results like this in such astonishing speed. Thus, it was through large-scale experimentation on living slaves that the most powerful army Gratum had ever hoped for was born. So these A-ranked champions and their battle chimera partners boasted unparalleled strength when they worked together, but their true value had yet to be demonstrated in public. The ultimate aim of Gratum was to find ways to integrate different divergent traits and qualities into a single being. To achieve this, a special medical skill was developed, known as simply the Beast. The existence of this all-important, confidential secret was known only to Gratum and his 3 generals. It was, after all, the culmination of their efforts, the fusion of soldiers with magical beasts. Based on the lycanthrope's skill, Animalize, the beast ran off the animal elements in the battle chimera, the partner of the person possessing the skill. It combined man and beast into one in every sense of the phrase, and it unlocked tremendous power for the caster. Instead of trying to tame the equivalent wild beast, it provided you with a super warrior, an incomparable force in battle. However, given the forbidden nature of granting a person the power of a magical beast, this treatment was also extremely dangerous. Once administered, after all, the skill forcibly took effect. It could not be reversed voluntarily. The subject needed to be taken back to the laboratory hospital to flush the drug out of their body, and the side effects shouldn't be ignored either. In fact, that was the bigger issue. Nothing about the safety of this drug-based skill was guaranteed. According to current research, it was lethal 40% of the time. In some cases, conformity failed entirely and the subject was stuck in magical beast form forever. That had a chance of occurring in 1 out of every 5 cases, and if it happened, your life as a human being was over. Even worse than this was falling out of control. Some subjects gave way fully to their beast side, going berserk, while others stayed in human form and simply lost consciousness, carrying out no further orders. In cases like that, there was nothing to do but dispose of them. That happened at a rate of around 30%, and given its worse than death consequences, it was something you wanted to test. It was something you wanted to test out on a lark.
Oh, wasn't. Sorry.
Oh, it wasn't something you wanted to test out on a lark. My bad.
Mm.
Those were the examples of complete failure they had seen, and in total, it meant that 90% of cases. Ended in some kind of failure. It was basically ordering someone to die, and even someone as egotistical as Gratum was hesitant to try it on his own people. He wanted to improve on this drug, increasing the success rate before allowing his soldiers to use it, but under these circumstances, he could no longer be picky. At this rate, the weak would all be killed anyway. Gratum knew that Emperor Ludora was an even more cold-hearted man than he was. The weak, in his mind, were worthy of being nothing but prey for the strong. In that case, administering this drug to his soldiers right now might be seen as an act of affection more than anything. Besides, if any fused beasts went out of control, they'd be useful decoys. And even if they couldn't revert to human form, they'd still be valuable assets. The only waste would be the 40% of soldiers and officers who die on the spot. But although there was some uncertainty, it absolutely resulted in a more powerful fighting team than what they had now. That in itself made it the right thing to do. Yes, there were still many unknowns about the drug's effects, and they might see some physical abnormalities, but we're talking 10% of the force growing stronger beyond any doubt. And on the battlefield, quality trumped quantity at all times. For those who knew the ironclad rule, upgrading 10% of your force was a very attractive temptation. The actual success rate, granted, was still unknown. They hadn't conducted enough trials yet, and there was the possibility of unforeseen side effects caused by people's individual physical makeup. Those possibilities couldn't be dismissed, but at least some people would survive with the powers of magical beasts in hand. The most successful of the successful, probably not even 1%, had been found to be perfectly compatible with the process. As a sign of admiration, they were referred to as Chimera Knights, and among those successes, "Guys, I just got a call from Zamdo. It sounds like the enemy is not playing around any longer. I want you to get up and rid us of them." Gratum's countenance was grim. Gabiru, taking a moment to realize Gratum wasn't talking to him, gave him a suspicious look, but he immediately recovered, tightening up his face and jumping out of the way. A moment later, a flash of silver light coursed over where he was. Dodged that one. I thought it was a perfect surprise attack, but I guess I shouldn't underestimate you. Underestimate? That's my line. How are you still standing after I gouged the giant hole in your chest? Confronting the retreating Gabiru was Baraga, the Azure Dragon, a foe a foe he had written off as dead. Said hole in his chest was still gaping, with no sign of ultra speed or even regular old self-regeneration invoked on it. Any normal person would have died from it long ago, but this was a world crawling with magic born. There was no telling what you'd find. Gabiru understood that well enough, always checking fallen foes for life signs before declaring them fully dead. But Baraga was unusual. I remain safe thanks to Sir Gradim, granting me his almighty power. Now let me show you my true form. Oh no, that's still Baraga. He has a similar laugh to... Okay, whatever. Baraga's cry was answered by a water dragon. No, it was not a pure dragon, but instead a battle chimera modeled after one. For Baraga was one of the Chimera Knights, who successfully awoke to his true potential. As long as either the soldier or their partner was a beast, nobody would die. Another hidden power Chimera Knights enjoyed. Now, thanks to invoking the medical skill, the beast, Baraga was able to recover from a fatal wound instantly. What's more, as soon as he and the water dragon made contact, their bodies merged into one. He retained his human form and appearance, but now his skin was covered in dragon scales. His entire aura was different. He had gained significant strength, no doubt. Gabiru ruefully glanced at Gradim, but concluded that Baraga was the more present danger, so he attempted to focus on a one-on-one battle with him, although Gradim wasn't careless enough to allow that. This lizard's tougher than I thought. Let's kill it together. Very well, my lord. I'll take the vanguard spot. I'll take the vanguard spot, Sir Gradim. You have the freedom to move. All right. You've got me helping you, remember? So don't screw up. Terms like chivalry or bushido weren't in Gradim's vocabulary. He recognized Gabiru as a valid threat, and so he'd take every measure needed to eliminate him. Enough of this. Even together, you will realize how invincible I am. So Gabiru revved himself up for what was looking to be an uphill battle. The third of Gradim's generals was proving just as resilient as her peers. Just as Baraga was perfectly fine, the Lorelei that was once crushed to pieces was now fit as a fiddle. Ghidorah, piloting the Demon Colossus, was keeping tabs on the battlefield. This allowed him to hear Gradim's words, and they made him uneasy. Get up, he said. Who was he talking to? Just as he was thinking this, he noticed that Baraga was back in action. He hurriedly tried to alert Gabiru, but before he could, he felt a chill and turned around. Standing there was a girl who had clearly undergone some alteration. Or was girl even the right term? She had the form of a girl, but her skin was a metallic, reddish-black color. Nothing about her was flesh and blood. It was a rock, or to be exact, she had transformed into a piece of magisteel. It was like a polished mirror, a majestic figure that was obviously non-human. Did you merge with the Lorelei? I sure did. You're a wise man, Lord Ghidorah, and quite well versed in knowledge from other worlds as well. But we've taken a different approach. I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have. And I'll show you what I've come up with shortly, so let me know what you think. Gozaline, the black tortoise, the girl with the wicked smile on her face, gave Ghidorah a taunting laugh. Then she took a step forward. Ghidorah really wanted to avoid this. He thought he had defeated the Lorelei by sheer force, but it seems that was just an act. That forced him to reconsider just how strong Gozaline was. Ooh, boy, genetic engineering, is it? I didn't think it was much use in a world of magic, given all the mysteries surrounding the nature of monsters, but quite the opposite, in fact. I'm amazed they've achieved so much in their quest to merge with monsters. He was very impressed at their ingenuity. Monsters came in many stripes. Some didn't even have genes, as we understand them. There wasn't enough time in the world to do enough research on every single type, and it wasn't likely to produce real results anyway. That was why, in the Empire, genetic engineering was studied only in the field of medicine. But now it looked like the Magical Beast Division was conducting their own secret research, the nature of which was probably too inhumane to disclose. Ghidorah, not all that ethical a person himself, could understand why they put their intellectual curiosity first. He had no intention of lecturing them, but he did regret not being involved in that research at all. Because of that, he had no idea exactly how much this merging would enhance the subject's strength. By the looks of it, he estimated that Gozaline's power exceeded that of the Demon Lord Clayman. That'd make her inferior to a saint, but Ghidorah believed she had an equivalent amount of magicules. Comparing them to the 10 dungeon marvels, she would likely surpass even Zegian before his awakening. And while magicule count didn't translate directly to strength, there was no doubting the danger she posed as an opponent. The Dragon Lords would be no match for her, to be certain, I suppose. I, too, had best treat this seriously. My, what an honor to receive such high praise from you, Lord Ghidorah. Feel free to savor this power to the fullest. Gozaline went on the move. The onrush was heavier than a 10-ton truck crashing into you at 200 miles an hour. Even the demon colossus, measuring over 10 feet tall and weighing in at over 30 tons, was blown straight off its feet. Calmly putting it back in order, Ghidorah shouted out loud, "Purple Thunder!" A bolt of violet-tinged electricity shot out, as the name implied. It was part of the Demon Colossus's armaments, capable of discharging 1,000,000 volts. It should be noted that more voltage doesn't equal more power. That was added to the Colossus mainly because it looked cool. It was mainly for looks, but hey, it's perfect for scaring the bejesus out of a wayward dungeon adventurers. And amazingly enough, it worked on Gozaline. What? That's not magic! How do you control lightning without any magic? She froze in shock, definitely not because of damage. Well, it's a secret weapon, you see. Top secret. Sir Rimuru trusted me with it, and that's why I will never be defeated. Ghidorah was riding high now. Analyzing Gozaline's onrush, he found that her entire body structure had been replaced with magisteel elements. A special ability of her Lorelei, he surmised. It was harder and heavier than steel, but Gozaline's motion hadn't been hindered at all. And since her latent power was now at saint level, it was a transformation that simply reeked of cheating. But Ghidorah still had the Demon Colossus. Take this, the ultimate in magic weaponry, Demonic Buster! Again, the greatest of armaments fired away. The firing control system was linked directly to Ghidorah's will, so there was no time delay in activating the weapon. Demonic Buster was the most powerful of the weapons on the Colossus, and being the sorcery geek he was, Ghidorah named it as a tribute to the demons. It essentially functioned as a magicule concentration device, working on not only the magicules inside the magic furnace inside the Colossus, but also those naturally floating in the atmosphere, shooting all of them out at its enemies. The term one-shot kill was practically invented for it. The Demon Colossus' chest opened up, revealing Ghidorah behind a transparent layer. He placed one palm in front of the other, and from the center of it burst forth a ray of light. This was the base that the Colossus then enriched with magicules, turning it into a sort of death ray. The former commander of the Magic Division strikes again, does he? Gozaline, opting to defend instead of evading, had an expression as hard as stone. Well, here we go! Magisteel Ultra Microwave! A small tremor occurred on the surface of her body, a specific vibration emitted by the Magisteel. The metal's unique frequency makes it capable of repelling magicules. That's why magic didn't work on it. But now that Gozaline had merged with the Lorelei, she was capable of manipulating the Magisteel that formed her body at will. On one side, a ray that compressed magicules. On the other, a metal that dissipated them. The two sides collided, and the winner was Gozaline. What? I have survived, and so I win. Gozaline shouted out in joy. Being a spellcaster, Ghidorah's offense naturally relies on magic. But Gozaline's magisteel body gave her an absolute advantage over any magic. Both were well aware of this. That was why Ghidorah broke out his most powerful weapon of all. If it didn't work, there was virtually no way to defeat her. Yes, I give. I never thought you would block this. Ghidorah, too, was one of the strongest people alive. Even if his adversary possessed more magicules, he had no problem forcing them to do his bidding. The difference in skill was enough to let him overwhelm even saints like Sare. But this was one foe who he simply couldn't match up against. A foe who was simply impervious to him. If he couldn't defeat her, then maybe it would spell doom, but it certainly wouldn't be a victory. So, realizing that the battle wasn't in his favor, Ghidorah wondered what to do. This must be the critical moment. I am not part of Rimuru's inner circle, and I can hardly say he trusts me very much either. If I don't show a little more backbone here, he'll never accept me as a friend to his cause. The magnanimity of Rimuru constantly impressed him. Despite making no secret of how suspicious he was, the Demon Lord had accepted him after he switched sides from the Empire. Not only that, but he fully recognized his abilities, entrusting him with a major role within Tempest. And life in the land of monsters was wonderful for him. He had access to research facilities that not only rivaled, but exceeded the Empire's in many ways. He had a friend and confidant in Adelman, a full-fledged saint now. He was proud of him for that. And what's more, with their aid, I can truly plumb the deepest depths of my magic research, my most favorite of pastimes. But if I want to live up to their expectations, I have to be of service to them here. He recalled the many monsters hoping to learn magic from him. That was enough to finally firm his resolve. Of course, these memories were somewhat wishful thinking. One monster called him a fool and rejected him. One almost tricked him into becoming a test subject, and a third, far more devoted to the sword than the wand, invited him to train together. But Ghidorah wasn't afraid to interpret things the way he wanted to. After all, one of them got along well with him. They became friends, after they both complimented Rimuru's magic, so his memory wasn't completely failing him. That one was Diablo, and Ghidorah had made him a promise. If he could make Diablo admit to his magic gifts, the demon would make him one with one of their own. Oh. That's why Ghidorah couldn't afford to die in a place like this. Rimuru had ordered him not to do anything reckless, but... I am not defeated yet. This battle is just beginning, little girl. Good. Then let me carve you up with my powers. Ghidorah shouted, Gozaline shouted back, and the two clashed again. Despite being less than half the size of the demon Colossus, Gozaline was fighting back with all her might. It was a bizarre scene seeing the far heavier Colossus be pushed back. Gozaline was simply abnormal. Something was stirring on the surface of her back, and now countless tentacles sprouted out of it, their sharpened tips thrusting toward the Colossus. Hurrah! More! Show me more blood! She was heating up, basking in the intensity. The tentacles were made of magisteel, ever so slightly vibrating with frequencies high enough to let it pierce any material as if it were clay. It was called high-frequency mince strike, and it could be applied for a slashing attack as well. And it was that high-frequency mince slash that sent both of the Demon Colossus's arms flying. They too were made of magisteel, but it was a living creature. Gozaline had the advantage. But as a living creature, Gozaline had the advantage. Ugh, this precious machine entrusted to me by Sir Rimuru. A mere pile of junk before me. It would take a senile old geezer like you to rely on toys like that, wouldn't it? Shut your mouth! A frustrated Ghidorah exclaimed, but he was being nothing but a sore loser. His own body, too, had been gouged by the tentacles, puncture wounds present up and down his body. He was stained with blood all over, but Gozaline couldn't see him, so he kept up a strong front. How persistent of you! You know there's no way to reverse this now, don't you? There's nothing to be ashamed of. Even the most legendary of wizards can't win against the March of Time. That's probably her. I don't know. Oh well. I have not lost at all. Such a pitiful sight. Two tentacles extending from Gozaline took the form of blades, severing the Demon Colossus's legs. Now there were no limbs at all. Submit to me. Swear your fealty and I will spare your life. Ghidorah's knowledge was too extensive to lose. That was why Gozaline made the offer. But Ghidorah wasn't about to give the nod. You know, I've made it this far thinking mainly about myself first. I have a firm love of magic, and there is no denying that for me. So why would I ever submit to someone who makes fun of magic? Her inner magic nerd was about to blow a gasket. That's how people work. Ridicule someone for what they love, and they'll see that you with rage from deep below. Ghidorah was now burning, his body and spirit united for the cause. It was the anger that made him decide to invoke a forbidden magic. This was the elemental magic Sacrifice, a self-destructive spell that transforms life force into violently burning fuel. I was hoping to gain Sir Diablo's recognition and become his apprentice. But oh well. I still have the mysterious art reincarnation on my side. I'll have to say goodbye to this world for a while, but next time, I swear I will plumb the depths of magic. If Ghidorah was given the chance, he would always take a victorious retreat over a deadly defeat. You dare defy me? Then I have no use for you. Die! And you as well! A tentacle pierced the chest of the Colossus, where Ghidorah was located. A moment later, a dazzling flash of light gushed from it. It was a light that burned everything it touched. The flames of the elemental magic sacrifice. What? This is what you were after? But Gozaline's words were swallowed by the flames of life, disappearing into space. All that remained was one small flower blooming on the ground. Oh my god, I gotta...
Schlurp.
I told you.
Okay.
This is the chapter where shit gets interesting.
Yeah, no kidding.
So much stuff happening at the same time, man.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. Alright. Gabiru was fighting at a distinct disadvantage. Gradim was strong, yes, but even more troublesome was Baraga, who had tapped into his power as a Chimera Knight. This made him notably different from before. His power so great that even the current Gabiru couldn't underestimate him. In terms of Magicule count alone, Gabiru was ahead as he was when it came to spear skills. But when looking at overall strength, there wasn't such a large gap between them. He was someone Gabiru might let beat him if he wasn't careful. But he had two foes to deal with right now, and Gradim was free to attack from any angle he wanted, distracting Gabiru from Baraga. And he had something else to worry about. That was Sokka, who was fighting one of Gradim's other generals. Nazin, the Vermilion Bird, appeared to have the strength of a Demon Lord. She seemed to be of the same race as the Demon Lord Frey, and Gabiru suspected he was a close match in terms of strength as well. Thus, in his judgment, Sokka was no match for her. Sokka had been strengthened by Gabiru's evolution, yes, becoming one of the most capable of upper-level Magicborn. But she was still just the second in command of a Demon Lord. She lacked the strength to take on one herself, and victory was pretty hopeless. She was still alive because Nazim was having fun tormenting her, extending her fate. Gabiru, aware of this, was anxious to provide some support, but Gradim and Baraga were formidable. "Forgive me, my sister," he said to himself as he kept focusing on them, "but please hold out for me." Then Gabiru was hit by another shock. There was a flash of light down on the ground, and at the center of it was Lord Ghidorah. Lord Ghidorah! The thought communication didn't work, and that meant just one thing. To make matters worse, he could see a small figure standing up off the ground. Gozaline, one of the three generals, sorely wounded, but still safe. Gabiru, unable to hide his agitation, was then targeted by a spear attack from Baraka. Hey,
That
Richie,
nice
can you
picture.
turn down the gain on your mic?
Sorry.
Okay. Sorry, that was just...
Yeah, now you know what it's like for us to hear you.
I mean, like, it's more than just the typing. It's like the
It's
sound of
because
the room is coming through.
No, it's because the mic is on the same tiny little table that my keyboard is on. So when I'm typing, the whole table shakes.
I know, but it's not just the typing that's doing it. I'm hearing the sound of the room right now. It's just going on and off now.
You're hearing my air conditioning.
Yeah.
Okay, 1 second. I can fix that.
Hey, you ain't gotta turn off the air conditioning. Just gain knob.
The near.
Ah. Huh.
I saw the Discord thing going off a little bit when he
I just closed my
mentioned that,
door?
but other than that, yeah.
Yeah, he just closed his door, so that makes sense. Restrict airflow and stuff. Okay.
Well, it also muffles the shit out of the AC sound.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Okay. Who the hell is... Okay. Come on, come on. If you aren't paying attention to me, you must think you have this won, don't you? Of course, you will know that you are no match for me. It was big talk, but Gabiru had no time to spare. The odds were against him, and even now the word retreat was starting to take shape in his mind. But then he received some reinforcements he never could have imagined. Hey, looks like you're in trouble. Need a hand? The voice was unexpected, but it belonged to someone Gabiru knew well. Why can't you be honest with yourselves, We asked Milim to transport us because we were worried, you realize. And there was another, the beautiful queen and ruler of the sky. Lord Carrion! Lady Frey, why are you here? Carrion laughed at Gabiru's surprised question.
Imagine.
That can wait for later, can it? Can't it? Bless you.
Imagine.
Let's get rid of these guys first. Frey nodded in agreement. We're in an alliance, aren't we? It's only natural that we'd send out reinforcements. So we're joining in, and we'll work under Sir Benimaru's command. The Beastmaster's warrior alliance serving Carrion numbered less than 100, but each member was an army in themselves. The Heaven Flyers, Frey's close assistants, were the same way. Warrior-type harpies were a rare sight, but they were still notorious for their well-honed skills. There weren't many of them, but they couldn't have asked for better reinforcements. I am glad to see you, Gabiru said, deciding to accept this rather than fret about it. He sent a message to Benimaru for instructions and received an immediate response. We are having Moss send an update on our situation over there. Don't let your guard down. Gradim's up to something, to be sure. Keep an eye out for their rank-and-filed soldiers. The orders were straightforward, just the main points, no specific instructions on who should take on whom. But Gabiru liked it that way. It made him feel trusted, depended on. Very well. Sir Carrion, I would like you to handle the enemy's main commander here. Haha, smart choice there. He's the scourge of every lycanthrope. I'll tell you. I wrote him off as dead long ago, but seeing him alive's the biggest shock I've had all day. Can't wait to put an end to him myself. This was Carrion's intention from the beginning, so he was more than happy with these orders. And will that bird girl over there be my adversary? Bird girl? Bird girl would describe you, wouldn't it? Gabiru thought, but he wasn't stupid enough not to realize the consequences of saying it out loud. He was still concerned about his sister Soka as well, so Frey's offer was fine with him. Can you do that for me? No, can you do that for me? He asked, trying to sound like a leader. Right, I'll be off then. Frey glanced over to the two twin wings next to her. You handle the rest for me. Good luck, Lady Frey. She nodded at them and took flight for Nezim, the vermilion bird, who was continuing her beating of Soka until she noticed Frey coming. Frey, I am the true queen, and today I shall make amends for our long-standing grudge. Unbeknownst to Frey herself, Nazim was her twin sister, a mutant born with great powers. She was unfortunately sterile, unable to reproduce, and in the female-dominated society of the Harpies, a queen who cannot bear children was simply unacceptable. It wasn't Nazim's fault at all, but she was disqualified from the moment she was born. And what's worse, the queen at the time opted to expel her from the land, fearing she'd be a harbinger of future calamity. So, while wandering the land, Nazim was picked up by Gradim, and before long, her anger and hatred toward her own people began to grow. And now, the symbol of that anger, Frey, was right in front of her. With an odd feeling mixture of joy and resentment, she flew up to intercept her. Well, Carrion casually said as he watched from a distance. Let's get started over here. Gradim gritted his teeth. Don't look down on me, you bastard. Looks like Frey's dealing with her own flesh and blood, huh? Guess that's fate at work. If we hadn't come to help out, I never would have had this opportunity, eh? Opportunity? Yeah, the chance to kill you, and prove once and for all that I am the strongest beastman. The hell you will! That's my job! Carrion and Gradim had quite similar personalities and ways of speaking. They possessed fierce tempers, and in a way, even the world wasn't big enough for both of them. Carrion was right. This battle was driven by fate. Let's go. Come to me. I'll show you the difference between us. Invoking his unique skill, Royal Beast, Carrion attained his true form as Beastmaster, fully armored and ready to go all out from the start. Gradim, meanwhile, held the power of the White Tiger, which he hadn't even broken out against Gabiru. This solitary tiger clad in the Empire's military uniform was ready to intercept the would-be king of the beasts. There were now two sets of combatants on the battlefield, clashing mightily against each other. Gabiru was now confirming that the new reinforcements were moving in accordance with Benimaru's instructions. It all went very smoothly, much like Team Kurenai and Team Hiryu. They were all under the command of Dolph, leader of the Heavenly Regiment. More detailed orders were given at certain key points, but Benimaru had decided it was better to leave most of that work to officers on the ground. Gabiru, for his part, supported this decision. He imagined that, much like himself, Benimaru would be busy fighting the enemy's top leadership, and it looked like this was the right decision to make. Although each individual member of the Empire's Magical Beast Division fought at a high level, their maneuvers as a group weren't all that praiseworthy. Despite being outnumbered, the Allied forces were able to maintain their front lines through skillful coordination. Even so, there was no denying their disadvantage. The reinforcements were thus more than welcome, and now they were about to stage a counterattack.
There we go.
All right. All right. Things seem to be going well. Soka's back to healing herself, and I need to do my best as well. Distracted with me in front of you? Not a good idea. Gabiru, watching the battlefield, was threatened with a spear attack. Once more. Baraga was his opponent. Gradam had left with Carrion, but the battle with Baraga was still going on. Gwahaha! We are under orders from our commander. I'm afraid I can't focus strictly on you right now. Then you sorely underestimate me. And that wouldn't be the other way around. If Gradam had tackled us seriously from the start, after all, I'm not sure I would still be here. Pfft, the great Beast King doesn't need to treat the likes of you seriously. Gabiru shook his head, exasperated. And that is what letting your guard down means. It is said that a lion expends his full effort to catch even so much as a rabbit. And in a world where might makes right, it's only polite to give your all against whoever you go up against, isn't it? He flashed a brazen smile, but despite his words, the thought of his friends flashed into his mind. Quite a few of them, he thought, didn't expend their full effort against their enemies at all. Diablo chief among them. Gabiru would occasionally challenge him to a training battle, only to get beaten by a pulp without so much as a serious effort from him. Well, there's an exception to every rule. Besides, if he really tried against me, it'd be over in an instant. I have no right to complain. We may have the same position, but there's just so much of a difference between us. That's the sad reality of it. Rimuru, at least, acknowledged his talents enough to put him among the 12 lordly guardians. Gabiru was proud of that, but he also knew where he was in the pecking order. Awakening and becoming stronger helped him better realize the strength of Diablo and the other demons. Even the 3 demonesses who didn't get evolved at the victory celebration were far more powerful than Gabiru currently, and if so, the stronger and now evolved Diablo must be up to unimaginable heights. He could never beat him, and he was all right with that. But if he gave up on improving himself now, it really would be the end. No, as long as he could keep chasing after him, it didn't matter if he couldn't win right now. Such were Gabiru's thoughts as he strove to keep his ambition to improve. Being that way, he knew what true strength was, and although it was still just imagination on his part, he instinctively understood that true strength wasn't what the likes of Gradam and Baraga had. Thus, I shall never be defeated. Nonsense. Your army is already doomed to failure. You owe us a great debt for allowing you to die before you witness the true hell that awaits you. Baraga sharpened his attack. Gabiru carefully parried it. Are you talking about the transformation of your soldiers? I'd like to know what they did exactly. What they did exactly. The moment Gabiru pointed it out, Baraga slowed down. He stared at Gabiru, looking a bit perturbed. Oh? You noticed? Of course I did. We have a very talented commander. Well, you're still too late. The order has been given, and all that's left for you is to die in despair. As proof, Baraga pointed out the now fully recovered Gozaline. Very impressive healing, but anyone with our strength would be capable of that, no? Gabiru had noticed that Gozaline was back in good shape. That much wasn't surprising, but Baraga still gave him a bold smile. No, not Gozaline. Around her. A chill ran down Gabiru's spine. There he saw a pile of fallen Imperial soldiers. Why was Baraga proudly pointing them out? He couldn't understand, and besides, actually, when did these soldiers die? The enemy boasted high numbers, so he didn't give it much thought before, but this was a truly extraordinary number of dead. Looking closer, he realized that many enemy troops were leaving the front lines and going back down to the ground. Tracing their paths, he found that a large number of them were all but helpless, coughing up blood or collapsing on the spot. Whoa, did you notice? They're just dying on their own. That's right. Sir Gradam has made his decision. They shall all now face a great trial. Baraga gave Gabiru a loud, hearty laugh. The maniacal laughter echoed across the battlefield, chilling the hearts of all who heard it. And Gabiru, too, was horrified by what he saw. Now he realized something terrible was happening. I need water again. Oh my goodness. Okay. Gradim, the Beast King, had issued a command, the very highest level of secret orders. All troops listen. Zamdo has informed me that His Excellency is in danger, and our treacherous enemies have also summoned a legion of evil demons. Their strength is unknown, but we estimate that it's more than you can currently handle. If nothing is done, we are likely to take several casualties. Thus, I have decided to tap into our last resort. You must offer to us your courage and your loyalty. Activate the final trump card I have given you, for then you will gain the power to defeat the demons. He had given the order to his 3 generals first, followed by the rest of his troops. The drugs, their energizers for when all hope was lost, had been distributed to them all in pill form. Their use was heavily restricted, however. They couldn't be touched without an order from Gradim, their commander. That came in the secret orders provided just now. Succeed in this, and you will gain immense power, and sometimes you will survive with only a few side effects. Do not hate me for this. Hate yourself for your failure to adapt. Such were Gradim's inner feelings. He was an almost refreshingly self-centered man, hardly hesitating to order his troops to die. It was a cold-hearted decision, but it was also true that the demons were likely to overrun them otherwise. He was asking his soldiers to bet their lives on gaining untold power, but it was when seen from the correct angle, the right thing to do. The soldiers promptly carried out their commands. They hadn't been informed of what the pills did exactly, so there was no hesitation. Thus, they all invoked the forbidden medical skill, the beast, on themselves, without even realizing what they had done. The effects of this slowly poured over the bodies of the magical beast division troops. It was still mid-battle, so the effect wasn't very obvious at first, but as time passed, things grew more apparent fast. The ground was filled with corpses, the sight Gabiru had just laid eyes on. Already, a number of berserk troops were running for the front lines. Team Kurenai, Team Hiryu, the Beastmaster's Warrior Alliance, and the Warrior Alliance and the Heaven Flyers were all forced to fight hard against them. But there were also those confused and bewildered, but not defeated, by the changes within themselves. Those were the true warriors Gradim sought out. 10,000 immediately died. 5,500 were completely irreversibly transformed into magical beasts. 5,000 made the transformation only to lose all reason and go berserk. 5,000 transformed into a human beast form, also going berserk. 4,000 became beast warriors imbued with animal powers, and 400 awoke as chimera knights. It was fortuitous for Gradim that the probabilities worked out pretty much as he had anticipated. There was ample reason to believe the results would have turned out much worse given the relatively small group of test subjects. The Magical Beast Division, as a result of this, was now much smaller than it used to be. However, its power as an army had skyrocketed. The Berserk members of the division promptly met their end. They had some value as decoys, but once they lost their minds, there was really no going back. Gradim was mentally prepared to write them off, without regrets. Among the survivors, half, around 10,000, could still retain their intelligence as they fought. That was a little more than Gradim expected, and while more than half of them could never return to human form again, they were a valuable fighting force. Gradim was satisfied enough with that. But most of all, they now had 400 Chimera Knights, and with them, they would never lose to anyone again. Brooding over this, Gradim nodded in satisfaction. Still, it was too early to relax. It took a long time to reach these results, but they still needed to reorganize their forces on the field. He wanted to take personal command, but unfortunately, there was an obstacle in his way. Carrion. For now, he'd have to rely on his 3 generals. Baraga, the Azure Dragon, was fighting Gabiru. Nazim, the Vermilion Bird, was in fierce combat with Frey. That left only Gozaline, the Black Tortoise. Gozaline, reform our forces at once. Very well. I am delighted to see the results were even greater than expected. Indeed. Get to work at once. A quick telepathic message was all it took. They really should have closed their ranks while they had 10,000 berserk half-beast decoys running around. but at least Gozaline was safe, which relieved Gradam greatly. As selfish as he was, he still trusted those he deemed worthy enough. Ooh. Ha! Focused on your troops to bother with me, eh? Of course. I command an army, you realize. I am not a wild beast. And you just commanded most of them to die, didn't you? Don't make me laugh. That is the nature of war, you fool. If you cannot make a similar commitment, you never deserve to rule our land. And did I hear that you were kicked off your demon lord throne by a newcomer? I feel sorry for the men and women who served someone as powerless as you. Shut up! Carrion slashed at Gradam in anger, but there was too much impatient urgency in his attack. Much as he never wanted to believe it, Gradam had grown far stronger than he expected. Whoa! That attack won't do much. You barely look like you're jogging toward me in my... or no. Whoa! That attack won't do much. You barely look like you're jogging toward me in my eyes. With that light-hearted remark, Gradam moved behind Carrion, a set of large claws equipped in his right hand. These were his white tiger claws, each emitting a silvery white sheen, a god-class weapon, both named after him, and lent to him by the Emperor. He had since transformed them by his own will, and being god-class, they could slice through any opponent, even spiritual life forms. Given Gradam's near-divine speed, they were an excellent match for his fighting style. So Gradam used his well-honed footwork to keep Carrion at his mercy. Even the legend-class armor protecting Carrion was about as good as scrap metal against the white tiger claws. What's wrong, huh? Didn't you say you were going to kill me? Was that just a lot of big talk or what? Ah, shut up! Oh, wait. Okay, yeah. I thought it'd be easier to kill you, but this ain't going at all like I thought. Carrion, too, had grown much stronger. All that training with Milim had done wonders for him. It allowed him to continue fighting this bout without taking a lethal blow. In a way, Gradam was even more surprised about that. Any difference in weapon strength had a direct correlation to overall battle strength, and he assumed the difference would end the fight a lot sooner than now. The two were very similar, including in their abilities, but while Carrion had an advantage in latent strength, Gradam had the edge in weaponry. And overall, that gave him a leg up. Gradam, clearly understanding this, moved to finish off Carrion, while ensuring he kept himself protected. But then, at that moment, something happened that Gradam never could have predicted. What? I'm surging with power. This was the sign of an oncoming evolution, the start of his own harvest festival, the progression to demon lordom. But awakening under these conditions posed a major challenge for Gradam. Why am I so tired? He was already unsteady on his feet. Carrion, not one to miss this opportunity, fled from danger and recomposed himself. What's the matter? Exhausted already? Then he observed Gradam more closely. Something was clearly happening, but was it good or bad for him? Gradam was clearly gaining power. That was visible enough to anyone watching him. Magicules were swarming around him, an enormous aura flowing out from his body, but Gradam himself seemed barely able to stay on his feet now. What's going on? This isn't that awakening thing, is it? Oh no, that was Carrion. Ah, fuck. No, whatever. Carrion suddenly recalled a story he'd heard recently. At Rimaru's victory party, according to the tale, he held an evolution ceremony on his officers, but some of them were so stricken by irresistible fatigue that they had to leave the event early. You have to go to sleep now for a while on the way to becoming a true demon lord, right? And that's exactly what's happening to this guy. The Beastmaster was no dunce, but he wasn't the most quick-witted person in the world either. Right now, however, he was demonstrating great insight. Perhaps the life-threatening situation was sharpening his brain a bit. Frey suggested that evolution requires a certain number of souls, and Gradim's troops are dying by the thousands around us, aren't they? Or ain't they? Indeed, the conditions were in place. Ascending to a true demon lord requires a large quantity of hate-driven souls. Not all of them bore a grudge against Gradam, of course, but enduring all the hatred of those you have killed was one of the trials required for the awakening. This was happening to Gradam right now, in the middle of an intense battle, and he was completely defenseless. It was simple cause and effect, really. The soldiers who trusted Gradam must have felt terribly betrayed, their souls marred by hatred toward their commander. Carrion couldn't read the situation that far, but he still judged it as both a great crisis and a great opportunity. Guess heaven's on my side after all. Wait a minute. It's always been about you your whole life, hasn't it? Time to pay for that. No. Think calmly about it a moment. You may call yourself the strongest only if you beat me when I am in perfect condition. This will be nothing but a half-hearted victory for you. You will rue it the rest of your life. Gradam was deeply concerned. Failure to act right now would assuredly kill him. But he was racked by fatigue, and he could do nothing about it. It was all so unexpected that he couldn't think of any measures to take against it. He turned toward his dependable generals, but Baraga and Nazim were locked in fierce combat, and while Gozaline was merely reorganizing troops, the onslaught she faced from Rimaru's force meant that she couldn't just run to Gradam's aid, whatever. At that very moment, nobody could help him. He fell to his knees. God damn it! I finally made it here. One more step and I would attain ultimate power. He could feel the power erupting within him, and an equally strong sleepiness that it was futile to resist. Once he awakened, he could defeat even Velgrind. He could picture it already, but reality was much crueler to him. If not even Rimuru could resist this ordeal, there was no reason why Gradam could. Now his face was a muddle of tears and frustration. You can't do this! You can't, damn it! With that final shout, Gradam fell asleep. And if a would-be demon lord failed to survive this ordeal, they faced death. Well, ain't you lucky? You get to have a nice peaceful death in your sleep. So long then, Beast Roar! Carrion was not one to show mercy at a time like this. Maybe it'd be a different story if he still saw himself as an almighty demon lord, but now he was just the commander of an army. He had come to reinforce his allies, and so it was only natural that he'd place victory above his own pride. Thus, a man burning with ambition, one just a single step away from reaching even greater heights, was defeated by Carrion. The first people to be thrown by this unimaginable defeat were Gradam's 3 generals. They were stout allies, fascinated by the Beast King's path and sharing in his dreams. Their anger and grief were palpable enough to affect the entire war situation around them. The first to react was Baraga. He stopped engaging Gabiru, turned on his heels, and rushed to Gradam's side. Sir Gradam! Everything below Gradam's head had been obliterated by Carrion's beast roar.
Oh.
The chagrined face told the whole story.
Oh yeah, it'd be like that.
It would be impossible to revive him from this state. Oh, how horrible. Right when his long-cherished wish was almost fulfilled. Gabiru arrived, following the lamenting Baraga. He remained on guard, his treasured vortex spear pointed straight at him. Sir Carrion, he said, eyes still on Baraga, my congratulations for your great victory. I am truly amazed by your brilliant authority on the battlefield.
Hey.
He was offering praise to...
Don't lose your head.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we're ahead of the
Went for
game
the
here. I
head.
think we can relax.
Looks like you didn't have a
Look,
leg to stand on.
It took almost an hour for me to finally interrupt you with some shit. I wanted to let you have as much time, but eventually, I had to get one joke in there.
It builds up too much. You just find one wisecrack
Oh, yeah.
and it just slips out.
It was a very neck and neck battle.
I mean,
Yeah.
That's no way to get ahead in life. He'll
I mean, I've heard of putting your head in the game, but this is ridiculous.
He'll certainly never be the head of a major corporation.
He ain't gonna be in Rush Hour 3. Sorry.
Damn! He ain't gonna be in Rush Hour 3.
Maybe a
What?
Rush Hour 3.
Yeah.
If he had
Yeah.
only stretched, he would have got that one last
I love
step.
how much that got Jackie when he said that. He ain't gonna be in Rush Hour 3. What?
Yeah.
Oh, that was so good.
Those outtakes
Oh,
are
the-
legendary. Anyway, go ahead.
yeah,
Oh,
go for it.
absolutely.
Gefilte fish!
Oh, shit, where was I?
Give a black man some gefilte fish, man. All right, anyway.
And even if... Okay. There it is.
Lentils.
He was offering praise to Carrion for defeating an enemy general, and he meant every word of it. Gradam, with his god-class offense, was more powerful than Gabiru, despite not even being a demon lord yet. And even if it was a coincidental stroke of luck that sealed it, it was only natural for him to commend Carrion. But the receiver of this praise looked oddly pale. Whoa, I hate to say it, but he didn't just... He was deep in thought, seemingly unable to give Gabiru a coherent reply. What is the matter? Gabiru wondered if he was feeling well. Carrion turned away, looking terribly concerned, and then he gave the shocking truth. Sorry, guys, I know I came all this way to pitch in, but it looks like it's over for me. What? Are you hurt? No, not that. It's that awakening thing. I think the souls Gradim was supposed to get are all swarming for me instead. Man, what a curse. Now I get why he was so damn defenseless. What? Carrion's tone was self-mocking. Gabiru, sensing the levity of the situation, couldn't hide his shock. So yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm going to sleep right here. Try to protect me when you can, all right? But of course, you may rest assured of that. Gabiru smiled, hoping to reassure Carrion. Carrion returned it, then turned his back to him. I hope I see you guys when I'm back up, he said, and then he fell asleep. He took it as stoutly as possible, but that's just the way evolutionary sleep works. Baraga was less than excited about this. If things had been any different, he would have been running guard duty, but not Gabiru. Running guard duty, not Gabiru. And it would be Gradim enjoying his slumber at the moment, not Carrion. No, never. You will reap all the benefits after doing nothing at all to show them. I refuse to let this pass. He seethed at Gabiru and Carrion, enraged in his hand. In his hand was a shining relic of Gradim, his white tiger claws, a god-class weapon that embodied and projected the will of anyone it acknowledged as its master. White tiger claws, lend me your power. We must avenge Sir Gradim. The claws shone more radiantly as if responding to Baraga's call. Then the light converged into a form of a single spear. Ah, you have recognized me as your master. Baraga rejoiced. In his hand was the newly reformed right tiger claws, now called the Azure Dragon Spear. Your name was Gabiru? Then let me kill you and dispatch the thief who lies before us. Huh. I too have made a man-to-man promise. Now that I will never allow the sleep of Sir Carrion to be disturbed. With that roared out challenge, the battle between the two giants resumed. Am I still going?
No. At
Okay.
this point, Moon, you take over. Moon, you take a break, and Sonic, you take over.
We're ready.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, actually, 1 second. Make sure. Don't want people interrupting while I'm reading. Okay. As she soared through the air, locked in high-speed combat, Frey was also sizing up the ground situation. For this, she used the extra skill Celestial Eye, a form of vision that observed a given range and offered a panoramic view from corner to corner for the user. Oh. Panoramic? Panoramic?
Yeah,
Oh.
panoramic view.
Panoramic?
Look, I'll make it all manageable.
Pick and choose
One sec.
and lose all your different groups.
You understood. You know. I'm glad.
I was trying so hard not to make that joke, and you guys just went for it. Yeah.
Yeah. When do we ever use the term panoramic view in a book?
I know,
Yeah,
but like you
for
said
real.
it 3 times. Do you have any idea how hard it was not to follow up with those lyrics?
It's okay.
I know
Sorry.
all the lines to Feel Good Inc. Okay.
It's a
Me
good
too.
song.
That's not even
yeah.
Feel Good
Feel
Inc.
good.
That's
No,
Clint
that's,
Eastwood.
No, that is not the song.
I
No, Clint
didn't.
Eastwood.
I wasn't there, so I
Feel
didn't quite
Good
hear it.
Inc. It's Feel Good.
No. Yeah,
that one's
Panoramic View is
Clint
Clint
Eastwood.
Eastwood.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood.
no,
is
you're
the
right. That
panoramic
is Clint
view.
Eastwood.
Make it all manageable.
Yeah, I am a
Oh,
huge
man.
Gorillaz
That's
fan,
all you
man.
do.
Don't
Yeah.
try me.
Fucking hell. It's been years
Jason
since I
Tunes,
heard
who you think is really kicking tunes? Yeah.
Picture dude.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's
Yeah.
that is. I'm
even had the-
happy.
You
I'm
get
feeling
Yeah, I'm
good. I
feeling
got
glad I got
I got
sunshine.
sunshine
in
In
a
a
bag.
bag, I'm useless,
useless,
but not for long.
for
The
long, the
future
future.
is
That's
I'm
right.
so out of the loop right now.
Yeah,
I've got.
it's-
You've never heard the Gorillas?
Oh man,
Nah.
I don't think
Really?
he's seen the music video. Oh man, that
Nah.
song was everywhere.
We'll fix
Both
that
of those
later.
actually.
All right, get to
Yeah,
reading.
you gotta get the.
Get to reading before I.
You gotta
take
play the
off.
music
Chalk that
video
up on
too.
the Patreon for me later to look at, I guess. If that ever happens, I don't know. Anyway.
Gotta.
Oh. So that's how evolution works. Her keen mind immediately told her what was happening on the ground, giving her the right answer even as she kept fending off Zazim.
Nazim.
Zam.
What
Nazim.
the fuck? Nazim,
Yeah.
thank you. What
Yeah,
the fuck?
you're welcome.
Nazim.
Mm-hmm.
No. Sir Grandam!
Grab him.
Grab him.
Sir Grandam. Fuck!
Were you following along while I was reading, bud? I said these names so many times. They have
I
here
felt like
so
I
much.
I was! And then like, what the hell? Gradam. Gradam, sorry.
Sir Grandpa.
I'm just terrible with names.
Sir
Hey,
Grandpa.
I get you. I get you.
Sir Grandpa, no!
Sir
Mm,
Grandpa,
yeah.
no.
I mean,
Yeah.
he
Too
was
damn
he was up
bad.
there in years, you know, so.
Yeah,
Sir Gradam, no!
there you go.
They say luck is a part of one's skill, and I suppose it's really true. You! How dare you mark Sir Gradam! You can't even lay a finger on me! That was not my intention. I was merely stating facts. I didn't mean to make a light of you. And it's not that I can't touch you. It's just that I haven't yet.
Mm.
I wish you wouldn't jump to conclusions like that. Frey, a passive woman who rarely made bold moves on her own, possessed commendable force as a former demon lord. Her magical count didn't hold a candle to the vermilion birds, but a mixture of speed and technique let her hold her own as well against Zazim.
Nazem.
Zazim?
Nazem.
Nazim. What?
Yeah.
I don't know why. I
Nazim.
feel like I'm mixing the Z and N for whatever reason.
Mm,
It's
Yep.
just the Z is throwing me off with it.
mm.
Big talk coming from someone who's done nothing but evade me so far. We'll see whose has the bigger mouth once this is over.
Hmm.
She held her own verbally as well. Some people had a natural gift for making other people dislike them, and Frey was very much that type. Not even the demon lord Milim could outclass her at that front. And Frey wasn't just fleeing her opponent either. She was observing her, looking for weaknesses. Strength-wise, she had nothing to beat her with. She was faster, but Nazim, right?
Nazem.
But Nazim had more endurance. She appeared to be in a losing battle. But then again, victory can often arise from unexpected places. You're panicking, aren't you? What? Where did that come from? I finally gained the power to see people's souls. My eyes have adapted to it. But let me tell you, having this insight is so convenient. Oh, oops. That was Frey. Never mind. Let me try that again. My eyes have adapted to it. But let me tell you, having this insight is so convenient. Frey could tell that her celestial eye had improved itself. It made her smile. This could give her an advantage after all. And the information she just received, she felt, could be the key to her victory. What are you seeing? Nazim's talons grabbed Frey's upper arm as she spat out the words in disgust. This small victory made her grin. Harpy claws have a magic and interference effect that can block the skills of anything they grab. You're a fool! You know that? So engrossed in conversation that you let me catch you! Her tone brightened. That was assured of victory. She was assured of victory, and that just proved she was panicking all along. Frey remained calm through the crisis, observing Nazim,
No, you're good.
Nazim,
No, you're right. You're right. Hmm.
checking over every action of hers. Take this! Shockwave! So Nazim's barrage began, seeming to make this a one-sided affair. Frey's clothes were torn by the impact, but her expression wasn't contorted by anguish. She continued to coolly observe Nazim. It struck her foe as strange, but she dismissed it as a bluff. It pained her to admit it, but her twin sister Frey had a sharp mind. Nazim was the more powerful fighter in terms of simple force, but a crafty trickster like Frey had a handful to deal with. Trying to con your way out of my talons, then? No. I'm sure she's looking for an opening, trying to turn the tables on a moment's notice. So that Nazim continued to continue toying with Frey, believing that a continued attack was her best option. But Frey remained utterly unconcerned. Maybe a little more? It was a small... I was kind of wondering if I should have went back, but that's fine. It was a small muttering, but it rang loudly in Nazim's ear. What? She demanded without thinking. You're going to awaken pretty soon, aren't you? Your magic heal count's rising more and more compared to when we began. It looks like. And once you awaken, I suppose you'll fall asleep like random.
Grad him.
That's all I have to... Random?
Grad him.
Grad him? Damn it!
Hmm.
Grad him. That's all I have to wait for, huh? Frey was that's all I have to wait for, huh? Frey was smiling like a fiend as she spoke. Nazim turned pale. Yes, she was aware of the symptoms she was feeling. This indeed was the cause of her panicked impatience. Frey had her all figured out. So what then? I'll just kill you right here, right now, and retreat to a safe place. The gut-wrenching truth to Frey's words only added to Nazim's disquieting alarm. Disquieting? Yeah.
Hmm.
Disquieting alarm. She had to be rid of her before the evolutionary sleep began. It was the only way. With that decision made, she turned her fierceness up a notch, attacking with her full force. But she now lacked the means to realize that this was exactly what Frey wanted. Shockwave! A fierce electrical shock churned its way through Frey for the nth time?
Yeah.
It almost feels like ninth, but it was weird. I've never seen one like that before.
For like the nth time, like
The
for the
nth
next
time?
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the nth time.
Mhm.
But it didn't burn her, or even hurt her at all. The impact threw her off balance a bit, but otherwise, nothing. This is madness! How could she be so carefree about this? But by the time she realized as much, it was already too late. Looks like you're wondering about something, but now I'm sure of it. Our mother, the previous queen, wanted you to be happy in a world where our flock was irrelevant. What? If you knew the queen's secret, you would have been killed. That's why she banished you without telling you anything. Don't give me that! Nazim shouted in a rage. How could a newborn chick survive after being abandoned like that? She had every intention of leaving me for dead. But Frey calmly dismissed her. And yet you survived. That is proof positive that someone was taking care of you in hiding. Mother always did spoil you like that. It was something Nazim always wondered about. She questioned how she managed to survive in her very young days, but before she could remember, it was her mutual instincts, she presumed, that saw her through that ordeal. But after hearing Frey's words, she began to wonder if there was another explanation. Still, after all the hatred that had accumulated in her mind, Nazim wasn't about to change her stance. You're bluffing! Now I'm on to you! You're trying to trick me and gain the upper hand, yes? It would have been cute for you to simply beg for your life, but your pride as the former demon lord wouldn't allow it, now would it? Frey, having exhausted all other options, was making her believe that she had some grand scheme ready to take her down. Thinking about it this way made sense to Nazim. Yeah. In fact, she was all but forcing her mind to make that conclusion. So, assuming she was being hoodwinked, she upped the intensity of her electricity. Die! Maximum shockwave! The full force of her violent electrocution attack struck Frey, and that was the moment she had been waiting for. It's too bad. You were let off the hook, and now you've come back yourself to die. Huh? There is only one queen. I killed our mother in order to seize her throne, and if you hadn't been abandoned, we would have had a duel to the death as well. Then I would have killed you! As a rare fighter-type harpy, Nazim had absolute confidence in her battle skills. She lost out to Frey in flight speed, but conquered her in everything else. There was no way she could lose in a fight, and even now, she was on the verge of victory. She wanted to sneer at Frey and interact barely worthy of being called the mutterings of a sore loser. But Frey's next word made her change her mind. A harpy queen needs to have certain abilities, you see. One born with them may be recognized as the next queen. The mistake you made was being born as part of me. What's going on like you know absolutely everything about me? Oh? Well, let me give you the
Executive.
executive. Oh my god, I'm like, I know this word, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Let me give you the executive summary then. The queen has an
Incontrovertible.
Incontrovertible. What the fuck is with me? It's like ever since when I read, it's weird. The queen has an incontrovertible advantage against all attacks from her own king.
Kin.
In other words, or kin. No, that.
Why does it say king? It should be kin.
Huh. That's weird.
Because, in other words, I have immunity against all harpy-based
all
offenses.
harpy-based.
So
Yeah.
it's kin.
From her
it's
own
kin,
kin.
not king.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone
Yeah, there's
That's
no
a typo.
male harpies. Yeah, that's
Someone
weird.
fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
The queen has an incontrovertible advantage against all attacks from her own kin. In other words, I have immunity against all harpy-based offenses. Don't lie to me! That's absurd! There was a corner in Nazim's mind wondering if this was true, but she dismissed it as impossible. If that story was true, then it instantly contradicted Frey's claim that she killed the previous queen. I'm sure you're trying to throw me off guard with your lies. You probably have thought of something more plausible. You should have thought of something more plausible. It's a sad thing you don't believe me. But it's true. And by the way, it's not a given that an old and new queen must fight each other. Normally, it would be two sisters vying for the throne, and whichever one sees the other's power for her own would win it all. That, and the winning sister here would also obtain the power to become a potential demon lord. What? But I had to kill Mother because you were imperfect. But what I truly can't forgive you for is how Mother wanted you to live, and you trampled all over that wish. I don't know if you were born before me or after me, but I truly wish you could have lived out your years peacefully somewhere else. Stop that! Think you're already beaten me? I know I have other skills besides my natural harpy abilities, you know. If I tapped into them, too late. I've already accumulated enough energy, and I hate to see you suffer any further. So let me finish you off with a single blow right now. No! It was only then that Nazem noticed Frey's wings had gained a purple tint. Her beautiful wings of pure white, covered in a gold mesh, had been discolored by the laping? Yeah, laping.
Lapping. No lapping.
Lapping? Damn it!
Mhm.
Lapping
Mhm.
waves of violent electricity. The realization of what it was made Nazem freeze up. Was she storing the electricity I released into her? Powerful could that be? She tried to escape in a panic, but the talons holding Frey's arms refused to budge. The queen's own slender hand had latched onto Nazem's arm as well. If that Nazem had awakened before encountering Frey today, the outcome might have been different. But at least that would have remained a hypothetical. What the fuck?
Mm.
For all time. Goodbye, my sister.
Echo reflection.
Yeah, I was thinking like echo reflection. Wait! Frey did not hesitate. She discarded all hesitation once she became queen. After all at once, she released her stored electricity. This was the ability she had acquired, the unique skill Duplicator, letting her take any attack an opponent lands on her body and strike right back with the same thing. It wasn't an easy skill to use, given how it required her to take damage. But since the attack came from a fellow Harpy, Frey could dominate in it, despite facing an opponent she'd normally have little chance against. So, hit by this vast store of electrical energy, all at once, Nazem was instantly scorched, carbonized, and killed.
Mm.
I don't care whether you're my older or younger sister, but mother spoiled you spoiling you certainly gave me a hard time. Although I do envy you a little, Nazem. At least you know for a fact your mother loved you. At least you know for a fact your mother loved you. It was a small measure of goodwill toward Nazem as she plummeted to the ground, but the words didn't reach her. The reunion between the two Harpy sisters had come to an end, and they had come no closer to to ever understanding each other. Excuse me. And would that it could have ended there? And would that let me try that again. And would that it could have ended there? What? The souls gathered toward Nazem are coming for me now? Wait, hold on. What? The souls gathering around Nazem are coming to me now. A sudden feeling of drowsiness overtook Frey. It can't be. Evolutionary sleep? Oh. So they want to take their resentment out on me instead of Nazem. Frey wasn't exactly going to turn down an invitation to become a true demon lord, but this wasn't the time or place. She thought Carrion looked ridiculous down there. In fact. She was going to laugh at him later, but now this didn't seem so funny to her. No point complaining about it, though. Lukua! Claire!
Lucia.
Oh, Lucia! Claire! Protect me throughout this. Carry on as well, please. Yes, Lady Frey! As you wish, my queen. The two of them promptly took action. Frey then flew to Carrion's side. It'd be easier to protect these two targets, she reasoned, if they were together rather than separate. Carrion had Surfa of the three musketeers. Sophia.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Sophia.
Okay. Sophia of the Three Beasketeers.
Yeah. I was about
The
to
Three
say
Musketeers.
the Three Musketeers.
Like,
They're very French.
I
They're very.
had to make that correction. I'm like, oh wait, no,
They're
no,
very
no, I got it.
French. They're very
The
French.
three
Oh.
The
musketeers.
Beasketeers.
Mm.
Protecting him as well.
Okay.
And the three of them together could help increase the chances of survival. And besides, good heavens, I came here to help out our forces, but now I'm just slowing them down, falling asleep in the middle of a battlefield. I never thought I'd make an error like this in my life. She was inwardly writhing in shame. It was truly the last thing she was expecting. But since she had lulled into falling asleep, unsure whether she'd ever awake again.
All right. Okay, Shem, it's your turn,
Oh.
motherfucker.
Okay.
Oh, Richie's not reading?
No,
Ooh.
I never.
No.
Dude, my sinuses are going nuts. You want to hear
Sinuses.
every 5 seconds? There's a
Yeah, I
reason
feel
I've been
that
muted.
like in my throat sometimes too.
Okay, where? Okay, there we go. Gabiru was locked in mortal combat with Baraga, and it was the Azure Dragon Spear in Baraga's hands that proved to be the deciding factor. It was unacceptable from Gabiru's point of view that a difference in weapons would determine the outcome like this. But the reality was that even his prized dragon skin ability couldn't provide much defense against the Azure Dragon's spear thrust. Inflicting wounds on me, or inflicting wounds on the likes of me. A worthy foe indeed. Ha ha ha! I'd say the same of you. I meant to finish you off in a single blow, but you're far more of a handful than I expected. Both of them were severely wounded, but neither of them stopped attacking. They were only hurting themselves further, but neither cared. Hold on. The fact you fight at my level after my awakening is truly amazing, but I cannot let myself be defeated. Even without awakening, Sir Gradam was far stronger than you. If you had pulled off the feat, you wouldn't have even given him a struggle. Nonsense. There are many who serve Sir Rimuru who are stronger than I. You are a good fighter, no doubt, but compared to the likes of Lady Ultima, you are but a minnow in a pond. It didn't dawn on Gabiru that this was tantamount to calling himself a minnow as well. Well, he didn't exactly have the gift for words that some of his compatriots did, but in his mind, he meant everything he said. And while he might have been struggling to hold his own, he still kept an eye on the war situation around him. Daring him to expose himself a bit, he attempted to guide Baraga away from the sleeping carrion, successfully shifting their location little by little. Lady Sophia has rushed to our aid, so I'm sure Sir Carrion will be fine. Now he won't be caught in the thick of it if we unleash some larger-scale moves. In his own way, Gabiru was strategizing, and as he did, Frey defeated one of the three generals. What? No! Now Nazim is slain too? Following in the steps of their leader, the woman they had informally treated as his second-in-command was also dead, or was now also dead. Being confronted with this made Baraga furious. You will pay for this! This spear will be used to avenge my friends' deaths! Now he was truly coming into his own. A true Chimera Knight is a warrior who has obtained the power to animalize, previously the exclusive privilege of beastmen. Do you see what I mean? We have been granted the beast, a specialized medical treatment to artificially integrate man and beast's powers together. That is who we are, the ultimate in war power. As he gave this speech, Baraga's body began changing rapidly. He had been undeniably human before, but now he was showing more and more of the characteristics of a dragon. It made his military uniform bulge, but it managed to hold out without tearing, as he transformed into something resembling more like a dragon newt than a full-on dragon. Ah, this feels good. Unlocking true power is such an uplifting feeling. It was the true time Baraga ever tested this transformation out. He thought it was possible for him, but he never told anyone about it, keeping it his little secret. But now that Gradam, whom he admired and respected, was dead, all the fetters on his mind had been lifted. With his comrade Nazim fallen as well, there was no more reason to hesitate further. Come to me, all of you! Baraga was calling out to his troops serving under him, currently running berserk across the battlefield. These poor soldiers, reduced to unthinking magical beasts, still obeyed the orders of this overwhelmingly strong presence, their instincts recognizing him as the superior one among them. The same was true for those somewhere on the spectrum between human and beast. Then Baraga lunged upon them all. Their magicules flowed onto him, or into him, almost visibly like a pulse, and the devoured victims dried up like mummies, their lives scattered to the winds. What a feat! Those were your soldiers, weren't they? And now They were nothing but fodder for the enemy as they stood. They should be thankful they got to die serving me. How selfishly evil of you! I refuse to let this outrage go unchecked! Gabiru charged with his spear, his instincts telling him that Baraga would be trouble if left unchecked any further. Judging by the situation, he was likely procuring energy from his soldiers to bump his magical count up to the maximum this current form allowed him. His magical count was still up there with Gabiru's, on the verge of what you could call an artificially awakened demon lord, so it'd be harsh to criticize Gabiru for panicking a little. That haste, however, led to the worst possible outcome. You fool! On the battlefield, the first to die is the one who loses his presence of mind. Did you think I'd be so preoccupied with my meal that I'd let my guard down? There were two purposes to Baraga's actions. One was to shore up his newfound power capacity, the other was to make Gabiru act too early, and it worked. He was all but jumping into certain death. What? By the time he realized it, it was too late. Baraga was using his feet to nimbly work the Azure Dragon Spear. As Gabiru flew in, the tip pierced his stomach. His magisteel breastplate did not cover his abdomen, and not even Gabiru's dragon skill or dragon skin skill could withstand an attack from a blind spot he wasn't even aware of. Gabiru spat out blood, an open hole in his stomach. The sight made Baraga laugh at the top of his lungs. Ha 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 ha! Now I will feed upon you, the greatest honor you will ever receive. It would have been the end of Gabiru, but fate was not about to allow it.
Confirmed. Activating unique skill braggart. Successful. The subject Gabiru's fate has changed, and he has avoided death.
Braggart.
What kind of cop-out
hell?
bullshit is this?
Braggart?
That's really funny.
It's like,
It
no,
was-
Gabiru's not allowed to die in this series.
Mm-hmm.
No, he
You
brags
heard
far
what
too
my
much.
master
We
said.
cannot
None
let
of
him
you
die.
are allowed to die in this battle.
Yeah, that's true. It was the world language. Even Gabiru himself had forgotten about the unique skill Braggart, but now its power had just altered his destiny. He had acquired this unique skill when Rimuru became a demon lord, but its effects had remained unknown at the time. All he knew was that it had the effect of either increasing or decreasing the power of his attacks. They get stronger when he was on a roll mentally, but weaker when he felt more timid or faint-hearted. The power suited Gabiru's personality to a T, but it wasn't exactly the most convenient of unique skills to tap into.
Just
Huh?
realizing I used the wrong voice. I was actually supposed to use this for the world language.
I did notice you
because
changed
he wasn't.
it.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
it was Raphael initially.
I thought it
but
was
no,
too,
it
because I
wasn't.
mean,
No,
Or
it's
not,
Seal now.
or Seal. I thought it was Seal,
Yeah,
but no,
it wasn't
that was
Seal
actually
yet, I
the world
guess.
language. Seal does have
Yeah.
lines coming up. That's what it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Huh? I'm rather sure I was just run through in the stomach just now. It made him worry a little, but he was never one to sweat the details, so he easily shunted it from his mind and readied his spear towards Baraga. No! What just happened? From his foe's point of view, this reality wasn't so easy to accept. He had finally come up with a plan to ensure and kill Gabiru, this powerful enemy. Once he had him overwhelmed, it was assuredly in the bag. This just seemed unfair. This is complete nonsense! In that case, I'll make sure to pierce your heart next time. All the magicals Baraga absorbed made him rapidly grow in power. Now he thought it'd be child's play to defeat Gabiru, dirty tricks or not. So he grabbed his Azure Dragon Spear with both hands. Once again, the two fighters were staring each other down. Once again, Gabiru was at a disadvantage. He got a karmic saving throw just now, but lightning wouldn't strike twice for him.
By the
Unbeknownst
way,
to-
I've never heard it pronounced as Azure before. I've always heard it said
Azure.
as Azure.
Azure? Oh.
Yeah. like
Sorry,
the
I think
color-
of the word azure, or like azul, you know?
like the color Azure.
Mm-hmm.
It's an
Azure,
Azure
okay.
sphere.
I guess.
I
Gotcha.
I've played too much Final Fantasy 14 because there's a character who's called the Azure Dragoon,
Oh, okay.
Azure. Okay.
Azure.
Okay.
You know what? That makes sense.
Azure.
and it's
Okay.
spelled the
We
same
need
way.
to get the
A-Z-U-R-E.
pronunciation book in here.
Azure Dragon
I've just
Spear.
never heard it said as Azure, and I'm like, am I getting
Yeah,
it
that's the
wrong?
first
I think it
Have
just
been wrong the
depends,
whole
but I don't know.
time?
I always
Or,
called it
like, I
Azure.
You know
don't-
what? I'm gonna Google it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it
Google how to
Azure
pronounce
or
that, yeah.
Azure?
It might be.
Mhm.
There might be more than one pronunciation. To be fair.
There very well could be.
Azure.
Like tomato, tomato.
Mhm.
Potato,
But no one says tomato.
Mm.
The British do.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Like
Tomato.
herb or herb.
Or
yeah.
like saying color with a U.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was thinking that too. Yeah.
Herb or herb.
But that they
Yeah.
don't. Do they even
before.
say the U part of that though?
HD.
HD.
H.
Yeah.
Hello.
Cohwip.
Hello? I don't know.
Yeah,
Doesn't
I
sound
first
right.
heard Azure this year. Spider said.
Azure.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
I
I've always
assure
heard.
you.
I've always
Azure,
heard
yeah.
Azure.
Assure
Yeah.
you.
Azure. Okay.
Azure.
Did you find it, Moon? I'm curious. Was he-
Yeah, so American pronunciation, Azure.
Azure. Okay.
I can go
Azure.
to British pronunciation.
So it is
Azure.
Azure.
So
and,
it's technically both. Azure
okay.
is how the British mostly pronounce it,
And
and for
Azure.
the American is Azure.
okay,
Azure,
so that's okay. So
Well, the
so I'm
British
used to the
are
American-
wrong, and they also have
So
the
I'm used to the
kilometers instead of miles.
We're okay. We're not here to. Okay, you can say that all day, but so does the rest of the effing world.
So
Yeah.
We're the
Azure.
backwards
Oh yeah,
people
that's
on
why I'm making
Alive,
it.
so-
That's why I said it the
Okay.
voice I did.
Okay.
But since we're all
But-
since we're all in America, I guess Azure is kind of it's
Azure,
It was
okay.
just throwing me
America.
off because I've never heard it said Azure before, and I'm like, what the fuck is
It's
Azure?
same.
Yeah.
Dude, there's so many
Azure,
like now you
okay.
know what it's like for me because some of these words in this
Assured.
book like I've never heard before.
Well,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I'm familiar with the word. It's just the
The
pronunciation,
pronunciation is
blue.
more
was
what
being
yeah.
used this
Yeah.
episode. It was like,
Mhm.
have I been saying it wrong all my life and I've just not known
Azure.
because I live in the South.
A
You know?
sail.
Yeah.
But also Georgia
Hmm.
boy over here was saying Azure, and I'm like, maybe it's a state thing.
Mm.
I mean,
I'm
honestly,
one
like
of them
in Final Fantasy
Coloradans.
14, they all have like British-like accents, so that's just
Yeah,
how they
that's-
pronounce
that's
it.
why.
and
Makes
that's
sense.
how I've heard the word. So.
Azure Dragon Spear. Yeah.
Azure.
Perfect.
Azure.
Azure.
So we'll go with
Azure
Azure.
Dragon Spear. Okay.
All right.
Perfect. Gabiru was at a disadvantage. Oh, once again, the two fighters were staring each other down. Once again, Gabiru was at a disadvantage. He got a karmic saving throw just now, but lightning wouldn't strike twice for him. Unbeknownst to Gabiru, the unique skill Braggart's Change Destiny feature required a long cooldown time before it could be reactivated. No matter how much he got fired up, he could only tap into that skill once a day at most. So Gabiru had no other secrets left at his disposal. Even worse, after this marathon battle, he had rapidly depleted his physical strength, coming back from the brink of death as he did just now, would require an extended period of rest for most people. But despite all that, Gabiru beamed, showing no signs of fear. Your technique is sharp as attack, but I have yet to lose. With a master as excellent as mine, you shouldn't expect to win that easily. Gabiru sharpened his focus, preparing to respond to whatever Baraga tried on him, and then fate made its choice. It wasn't because of anything Gabiru's skill did for him, but it was just the moment Seal was born within Rimuru's mind, and just when he was about to expend his remaining energy on a final decisive strike, a voice from the heavens reached out to help him.
Do you desire power? Then let me give it to you. Please agree to my upgrade for your unique skill.
Gabiru didn't ask what that meant. The voice felt so warm, so familiar, that just listening to it had a calming effect. So without hesitation, Gabiru agreed to it within his mind. The effect was dramatic.
A wise choice. I will sacrifice the unique skill Braggart to grant you a new ability.
As soon as the voice disappeared, a new power awakened in Gabiru. The ultimate gift, Mood Maker, as granted by Seal, included 5 effects: Mind Accelerate, Alter Destiny, Control Unforeseen, Control Space, and Multi-Layer Barrier. Mind Accelerate raised his perceptive speed up to 1,000,000 times. Alter Destiny was an upgrade from the Change Destiny skill in Braggart. This could be activated at Gabiru's will, although it was still limited to 1 use per day. Control Unforeseen was, in turn, an upgrade from Braggart's Unexpected Effects skill. Up to now, he could boost his attack power only through unintentional actions. Now he could trigger this at will. It still acted based on his mood, however, so only when he was excited and driven would his attacks gain more strength. Control Space was the same skill already available to Benimaru and the other top officers. Its chief application was for spatial transport, letting the user return freely to anywhere they previously visited so as long as no external interference had taken place. Said interference could also be used to keep your enemy from escaping battle on you. This made it extremely useful. Finally, Multi-Layer Barrier was a defensive technique that Rimuru had already put to great use. A combination of various single-purpose barriers, it could protect the user from virtually any kind of attack. And thanks to Gabiru being under Rimuru's authority, now he had access to it too. Gabiru correctly understood the effects of a skill that had been mostly opaque to him until now. Seal had laid it all out for him in this field of consciousness after slowing it down 1,000,000 times over for him. It was a truly moving experience. Then without thinking, he said, "Amazing! Truly amazing! I feel undefeatable!"
Not only
Although,
not only an upgrade, but a full tutorial that took 1 second.
massive fucking firmware upgrade.
Yeah. Not only that, but like his computer already knows how to use every bit of it.
Good.
We've
Already-
just upgraded your
That
GPU.
is the difference.
Yeah.
That is
give you
the
a little
difference.
RAM.
That is the difference between Raphael and Seal.
We downloaded more RAM for you.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Already, Gabiru's emotions were soaring to new heights, and in his case, that was the best thing he could possibly have done. He smiled, banishing the gloom from the air, and that alone proportionally boosted his powers. What's going on? Your powers have ballooned out of nowhere. What have you done? Sorry to burst your bubble, but I truly have a great master, and as long as I enjoy his protection, I cannot be defeated. It was big talk from the ebullient Gabiru. Even though there was still every chance of losing this battle, his body was teeming with almost overflowing power as he spoke. Now it'd be difficult to stop his momentum. Prepare to die! Ha! Allow me to carve my power into your body! So the pair of them, both as strong as an awakened demon lord, clashed with all their might. The exchange lasted a single moment. And it was Gabiru who won. The Azure Dragon Spear, swung with abject recklessness, was bounced away by Gabiru's vortex spear. It left Baraga wide open before he had time to regain his footing. A thrust from Gabiru left a large hole in his chest. I'm not done yet with my recovery skills. This means nothing. Baraga, too, boasted the consummate healing skills exclusive to beastmen. By taking in energy from those who served him, he could heal a given level of injury almost instantly. He tried using it to fix this one up as well, but things didn't work out that way. Much to Gabiru's own astonishment, the combination of Alter Destiny and Control Unforeseen activated for him, and together they took away Baraga's healing abilities. After Destiny could work just once a day, or Alter Destiny could work just once a day, but that limit only applied when used on the same target. As Gabiru had just discovered, he could also invoke it against an enemy. Just as Baraga himself said, the first to die in battle was the one to lose his presence of mind. This is more powerful than I thought. And so Gabiru had gained not only new strength, but an undeniable victory by his own hand.
All right. So here's two things you need to consider. The scientist part of Gabiru just got to test out a shit ton of new abilities for himself.
In an instant.
That's crazy scary in its own right. Secondly, Gabiru is now doing all this epic shit on purpose instead of on accident.
Good. That's great.
How fucking scary is that?
So he basically has
Good for
become
him.
the
Good for
Rimuru
him.
army flag bearer. It's like,
He
look at
has
us,
come a long
guys!
way.
Kinda, yeah.
He
He
bears
has come a
that.
long way. I'm
He
very
definitely
proud of
Might
him.
as well
Oh,
put
yeah.
a flag on
Yeah.
that spear.
All right, let's
I
go.
approve of my brother-in-law. Meanwhile,
He's going all right.
Wow.
I'm so
No,
proud
I was
of him.
just embarrassed.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Just jumping the gun there, huh, buddy?
just a little bit. Don't worry
All
about it.
right,
Don't
so
tell her.
here's the question. Here's the question. We can stop here
yes.
since it is
Mhm.
12 after 10. We can stop right here
Mhm.
because
Yes.
we've got at least a little over 15. We've got around 15, 16 pages left in this chapter. We can go ahead and stop here because we're not going to finish this chapter within the next 15 minutes. So,
That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
well, it's not a lot. We have a
That's
little
true.
bit left. We
I
only
read
have
more,
a
I
little bit
guess.
left. There's only this much left in the actual chapter, but we can stop
okay.
here and we can finish that up next time.
Okay.
And we can just jump into chapter 4 with that if you guys want to do that. If you want to finish up the chapter right now, we can finish up the chapter right now. It's up to you.
That's up to you guys. I'm good. I'm good with either.
I'm good with whatever.
I'm
I
fine
have
with
some water.
yeah, I'm fine with like putting off till next week then.
Yeah.
Okay. We will take a break then.
Alrighty. So we will stop there. And for once,
Yeah,
I'll
because
be
Shem
doing
wasn't
the
even really
please
supposed to
open
read
your...
this week after last week, and you also have allergies.
Well, part of the reason, and I know the reason why my allergies are kicking my butt, is because I woke up at midnight today. So
Oh,
I've been up
okay.
that long. so that I could make sure that I did not go to. I could not go to sleep when I got tired today. Otherwise, I would have slept through all of this. So
I see.
yeah, I had to make
Oh,
sure I was awake so we could actually do the stream and all that. So
how does that affect your allergies? I wonder. That's interesting.
if I don't get
Well-
enough
Or
sleep,
how that?
if I don't get enough sleep or I stay awake too long, my sinuses just start punishing me now. Welcome to old age. There's shit that breaks down quicker, or new things happen that just make things worse.
I have a third ear.
But there we go, guys. Like I said, this is just the beginning. This is like one of the first things that Seal has done.
And you
wild.
gave it to Gabiru.
There's a whole ass Gabiru's not the only one. He's just the first you know.
No,
about.
I just said that's what I mean. Like the first, you have this new power. Like you're almost omnipotent at this point, and you use it. First thing you do, Gabiru of all people.
Yeah, he was gonna die.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true. That is true.
Yeah. What was Rimuru's command? Don't die? Seal took that shit
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah.
And she took offense to that.
No, she did not no one took offense to that. She took
No,
it
no.
personally. She was like, okay, bet, nobody dies.
But it's easier
Cool.
to say that
Hey.
line than something else.
And I took that personally. Nobody dies. Hey, Gabiru, you were about to fucking die, you moron.
You see that kill cam?
Yeah.
You see that?
To be fair, he
KD
didn't even know he
ratio?
had that weakness though. So that was in the nick of time.
But again, Gabiru is just the beginning of that. Like,
Yeah.
the whole advent of Seal changes the landscape of this whole battle, and it's
Mood
beautiful.
alteration.
And now you guys are starting to
Become as gods.
We're slowly peeling back the layers, and
already?
everybody's like, "Oh God, if Gabiru got this kind of power up, what's coming up?" And I'm like, "Yes,
What's
yes,
happening to
that's
Gota?"
exactly it." All right, everybody, stretch.
Gotta get my back.
What would this be like? This would be like if Tien somehow was able to become a Super Saiyan. It's true though.
All right, guys, that's it for us.
Or if he
Thank
gains
you so
Ultra
much.
Instinct.
We will see you again next week.
Out of nowhere.
If you want to come by and check out some more stuff going on with us, I think Moon and I will be playing some Derptony tomorrow over on my channel. Some Destiny or something. We were playing something. No, we're not. Never mind. Sorry, scratch that. I couldn't remember what you and I were doing, and now I remembered. You and I are doing the Sonic movie tomorrow. You're finally gonna watch the goddamn Sonic
That's
movie.
it.
The
Hell
first
yeah.
one? That's cool.
Both of them.
Oh.
I never got to see either of them, and that makes me so mad. Trust me.
Oh, I'm tempted to join you on that. I might have stuff I'm doing tomorrow, but I'm tempted.
We're keeping it just with him. I want as little interruption as possible.
That's fair.
But yeah, guys. Well, I mean, I have to stream tomorrow anyway for some stuff. Also, heads up to you guys. You are free to join us in Raft to just keep working on the boat. We have made some upgrades to the boat, and we ran around and just collected some stuff and hit up a couple of small islands and got more items and things like that. So the boat is now completely Bruce proof. It is absolutely 100% Bruce proof.
Unless you expand it.
We have expanded the upstairs. So there's now more room, and we put up more chests in places where it's not going to cause so many problems. And we're making we're making individual chest locations for like specific stuff, like planks go in this chest, and so that we have a little bit less clutter, basically. And yeah,
Nice.
That's what we're working on
Sounds
now. It's just kind of getting things ready for when we have to get to the next one at the end of the month. Alrighty, that's it for us, guys. Thank you so much for coming by and hanging out with us. We really, really appreciate it. We'll see you all on any of the streams over on my channel. I have another Raft stream on Thursday with Cody and Leafitchy. So we're all going to be hanging out together and streaming. Who's looking forward to the new Seed Freedom movie? I was never like a huge fan of like Seed.
The what movie?
I was never a huge fan of Gundam Seed. Guys, if it was
Gundam
Wing,
movie.
if it was Wing, if it was
G.
if it was I don't go back that far. If it was Wing, if it was Iron Blooded Orphans, either of those, 100% would be behind it. But I was never like quite that. Anyhow, guys, we'll see you on Sunday for Anime Church, and again next week at the same time we'll be wrapping up the rest of this chapter and moving on with chapter 4. Until then, see you later. Bye bye for now.
Bye.
Bye bye.